Hi, my name is Bieberich, and the title of my project and the whole theme of the project is how to create a swim workout. So I started swimming my freshman year of high school because I needed something to do during the winter. Because usually I played basketball, but I thought in high school I probably wouldn't make the basketball team since I'm kind of short. So I started swimming because my mom suggested that I swim because my brother also swam. And I swam all 4 years and had a really good time. Learned a lot of great things from my coaches. And I really fell in love with the sport, so after my freshman year of swim, I joined Sycamore Hills swim team, which is the summer swim aspect of the sport, and had a really good time. And then the spring of my junior year, I swam for Summit City Aquatics, which is the club level, which has a lot of great swimmers, many that are a lot better than me. But it was still a lot of fun, and I learned a lot of great things. When I came up with the idea of making a guide to making a swim workout, I wanted it to reach a large crowd of people, and I figured the best way to do that would be to make a website. And I wanted to make a website that was like an actual website, like my own website that I made with its own domain name. But then I found out that that would cost between $100,000 and $10,000 a year to maintain. And I don't really have that kind of money. So I transitioned to using Google Sites, which is fine, it does the job, but I would have preferred something else, but I think it turned out really well. So on my website, I have 6 different categories. I have a home page, a category about the format and practices. I have a list of practice focuses. I have basic swimming terminology. And then I have a note to beginner swimmers on different things to consider for their first practice. And I have a few practice examples. So on the home page, I have a note by me, the creator, that really just tells the purpose of the website and is an overview of the website's contents. And then under the format and practices category, I have a listing of the format that most of the practices I've done follow. So it starts with a warm-up and then goes into a more drill and technique kind of set, and then main set, and then some supplementary sets, and then cool down. The warm-up is the first 10 to 20% of the workout time. It focuses on warming up most of the muscle groups of the human body because swim really uses most of the muscles in your body. I was kind of shocked by that when I first swam. So like for my first practice, I remember I thought I was a really good athlete and swimming would come easy to me, and then I couldn't even do a 25, which is just one length of the pool without having to stop and grab onto the lane line. So that was really surprising to me. So it's really important to warm up those different muscle groups so that you're prepared for the workout. And this can be done both in the water and out of the water. And it's a good idea to add some variety to your warm-up, although there's no need to change up what you're doing if it's working. So for Concordia, we usually follow the same workout routine or warm-up routine for before meets and then in the water for meets. And I thought that workout was really good. That warm-up was really good, so we never really switched it up all that much, which was good. And warm-ups are considered mandatory by many coaches and athletes because of its physiological benefits. So here's an example of some things you can do for your warm-up that are both out of the pool and in the pool. So here you can see there's some just basic exercises that you do out of the water, such as jumping jacks, high knees, leg swings, arm swings. And then in the pool, I have a beginner level warm up, which is a lot of just 25s and then 150, because most beginners 25 is kind of a lot. And then I also have an intermediate level warm-up, which is something that I have done for a practice a few times. Usually included with the warm-up, but it is kind of its own separate thing, is a drill and technique set. Swimming is a very technical sport and thus requires plenty of technique work. This part of the workout can either focus on specific breakdown elements, such as the arms for butterfly, or just regular swimming with a focus on a specific element. So it could just be you swim a normal freestyle 100 free, but you focus on the streamline, which is really just like your underwater push off the wall. And the drill swimming should not necessarily be fast, but should be done correctly, because this is the time when you really lay the foundation of your stroke. And then there's the main set, which takes up about 60 to 80% of your workout time. This is when you really go to work and grind. It embodies the focus of your workout as a whole. So as I mentioned there, I have a list of different swim focuses, or different workout focuses. So the main set really embodies the focus that you're trying to work on. There are infinite ways to accomplish the purpose of the main set, including sets that incorporate lactate tolerance, pacing, turn execution, or sprint work. And some things to keep in mind while doing your main set are to think about this, while creating the main set, or to think about the set's duration, so how long it will take you. Choosing the distance for each repeat of the set. So if you want to do 10 100 free swims or 10 50 free swims, it's the 100 or the 50, what length you want to do at a time. You need to focus on what strokes to do, how much rest to give yourself, the number of repeats of the reps that make up the main set. So as you can see there, the 10 is bolded and underlined. That's what I mean by the number of repeats. So how many times you swim 100. And then you also need to focus on, or keep in mind, recovery swimming. Some supplementary sets can be incorporated. These are not usually as hard as the main set, are still challenging to some degree. And this is usually where you see fins, paddles, buoys, snorkels, and kickboards being incorporated into your workout. These are just some devices that help strengthen and challenge your body in the water. And supplementary sets can also include a drill and technique focused set. I know I said that would come before the main set, but it's also good to do that after the main set, since you're tired and more likely to slack off on your technique. It's good to challenge yourself to have better technique while you are tired. That's when you really see improvements. And then finally, there's the cool down. This should be the very last thing you do in the water. Just like the warm-up, many coaches consider the cool down a necessity because of its physiological benefits. The cool down does not usually take very much time. For meets, at Concordia, Sean usually tell us after your event, just do double the event length. So if I did 100 free, he would say cool down by doing an easy 200 free. So it doesn't really take all that long. It's an opportunity to stretch out in the water before ending your practice. It should be slow and controlled, not put much strain on the muscles you have just been using throughout the workout. And slow stroke swimming and stroke drills can be an aspect of your cool down. So here we get into the practice focuses. I just have a list of different things you can focus on. So for your practice, you can focus on each individual stroke and the technique of that stroke, sprint work, endurance work, and kick. Or you can do all those strokes together in what's called an IM practice, or individual medley, in which you do all the strokes in the order on the screen: fly back, breaststroke, and you can do technique work with that, sprint work, endurance work, kick work. You can also do some test sets, As part of your practice, you can do kick test sets, 50-meter test sets, or 100-meter test sets. As you can see, I have times listed out. You can have, those times are just your interval for which you train, and you can do those all freestyle or the swimmer's primary stroke. So for me, I usually only did freestyle. And then you can also focus on recovery. So after meets, we would do some recovery practice sometimes. Although a lot of times Sean would push us after meets and make us work even harder, even though we needed rest. And then for high school swimmers or just competitive swimmers, they may also focus on starts and the turns. And new swimmers especially may need a large portion of the practice to learn and work on starts and turns. I remember when I was first starting, I spent multiple practices just doing starts and turns. And people would give me dirty looks because I wasn't working hard. I was just doing somersaults underwater. But more advanced swimmers usually don't have to work on starts and turns for as long. And I have a category about the basic swimming terminology that you may see. So a new swimmer may have no clue about any aspect of the sport. This page offers a view into the more technical and rule-based side of the sport. Some topics of discussion I have in this terminology page is how to swim the different strokes, drills that go along with each stroke, medley explanations, how to do the different kinds of turns and how to do the different kinds of starts, breathing for each stroke, and general phrases and their meaning. So as you can see, this is a screenshot from my website, and you can see there's the category strokes, and I give a brief explanation on how to do the stroke, what it looks like, but then I also have a YouTube link an explanation, because I find that swimming is a very visual sport, and a website can only take you so far when learning how to swim. And you really need to just see how to do the stuff. So I have that. And I have some drills that you can do for each stroke, and different medleys you can do. So as I mentioned, there's the individual medley, whose order is fly back breast free, but then there's also the medley relay, which is ordered back breast fly free. I have a listing of the different kinds of turns. So there's the flip turn, where you do a little somersault in the water and push off the wall. You use that for freestyle and backstroke. And then you do an open turn for flying breast. And then I have a listing of the different kinds of starts. There's the normal start, which is just off the block. You pop off the block. Relay start, where you don't have to have your hands on the edge of the block. And then step over start, where there's on a swimming block, just like track, there's a little like wall almost that you put your feet against. So for a step over, you step over that and propel yourself into the water. And then here's some explanations on how to breathe for each stroke. I also have just some general phrases and their meaning, which go along with like practice writing. So for example, I have the word build, which means to increase speed to a fast finish. So the last half of a 25 will be fast. And there's also half lap fast, which means the first half of the 25 is fast. And then I have some notes about the first practice, the swim I do. The day of your first swim practice is a very important one. On this day, you will begin to lay the foundations of what will hopefully become a blossoming swim career. However, there are many things one must consider before entering the water. The first thing is that swimming requires a lot of balance. This balance aspect, I think, is what causes so many muscle groups to be in your body to be implemented into swimming. And finding your center of balance can be a very difficult task. I remember when I first started swimming, I guess it kind of came naturally to me, but I had a lot of swimming experience with my mom, because she was on her swim team when she was in high school, so she kind of taught me how to swim before my first practice. I remember I have had teammates in the past that have really struggled to find the center of balance throughout the whole season almost. Competitive swimming is much faster than the swimming you may have learned and then taken a test on at the Y. So your balance when swimming competitively is much harder to find because you're going at such a faster speed. And then there's another note, which is it's okay to feel tired even though you may not have swum very far. Swimming is vastly different from any other sport due to the fact that it uses the majority of the muscle groups in your body. You may consider yourself physically fit and quite the athlete, like I did. However, in my experience, swimming makes even the best athletes look weak. Due to this, a new swimmer should not feel ashamed or discouraged when they're only able to complete a few laps over the course of their allotted practice time. So as I said, for my first practice, I remember I swam with Finn Brooks my freshman year, who's pretty much an Olympian now. And he was just dusting everyone, and meanwhile I only swam maybe 300 meters for the whole hour and a half. Maybe not even 300, I don't know. And the third point is don't be afraid to ask for help. It's very likely at a pool where you're swimming in lap lanes that someone is there that knows what they're doing and knows how to swim. And as I said, swimming is a very visual sport. It's best to learn it visually, and a website can only take you so far. So a new swimmer should really rely on some help from people that are actually there that can help them stay afloat while they're trying to win the strokes and stuff like that. So here I have some example practices. This practice is probably one of the easier ones that I've made. It's something I probably could have done the third week of swimming or maybe fourth week of swimming my freshman year. So it just has a lot of 25s, 250s in the middle there, and just a lot of a lot of free drill, kick, and then some backstroke. Here's a practice that's on the more difficult end. This is very similar to a practice I did this past season. So as you can see on the far left, there's the warm-up, which incorporates some drill, some IM drill, some fin work, and then just some other things that can help warm you up. And then in the middle is the main set, and it's called a ladder, where you build up on the 100 frees, but then build down on the number of non-free 50s. And then at the end I have a recovery swim, an easy choice 100. And then on the far right, there you can see a supplementary set, which is 4 100s free with fins, 4 100s free with paddles and fins, and then some IM drill, and then a cool down, which is, as I said, is very short. It's just 1 200 easy, just something to loosen up. This is the link to my website, but you can also scan the QR code if you would like to look at my completed website. And I had a lot of fun making it. A lot of help from Coach Sean, who was my mentor. He gave me a lot of great advice on things to incorporate. And then I had a lot of help from my mom and just pushing me to do it and come up with ways to say different things. And then the next slide shows my sources. And are there any questions?